Let's take the prayer, please. Master of all worlds, highest power, merciful parent of compassion, in your presence, eternal one, source of strength for us as you have been for our ancestors, we very humbly acknowledge you. What are we? What is our life that you have done such great kindness to us? Therefore, we place our appeals before you, so that you may forgive and absolve us of all our faults and failings. That our faults never become barriers between us and you. May it be your desire to prepare our hearts to feel awe and love for you. May you listen to these words of ours. May you open our encumbered hearts to the mysteries of your Torah. May this study be a source of pleasure before your throne of glory, sweet incense. May you shower down upon us light of our soul's source in all the ways by which we define ourselves. May the sparks of your holy servants, through whom you reveal these words to the world, shine and sparkle. May their merit, their ancestors' merit, the merit of their Torah, their innocence and their holiness, stand for us, to prevent us from stumbling when we study these words. In their merit, may our eyes be illumined by what we study. As in the saying of the sweet singer of Israel, open my eyes that I may gaze into the wonders of your Torah. May the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock, my redeemer. For it is the eternal who grants wisdom. It is from his mouth that knowledge and understanding issue forth. Na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Ah na 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 na. Ah na 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 na. Ah na 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 na. Ah na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Oh no 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 no. Oh no no no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no no no. No 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. All right, we're on page 384. And in the middle of the page, and we have a verse that was cited from Psalms that is supposed to bring us into a greater understanding of the theme that is part of our Torah reading that the Zohar is commenting on, which is that God remembers Rachel and helps her to conceive a child. So eventually we're going to have to circle around back to that verse. But now we start from the Psalms, and the Psalms that are chosen is the Psalm 46 for the leader of the sons of Korach, upon alamot, upon a song. Upon alamot, a song. What does alamot mean? So we had a discussion a little bit already, and we read the paragraph about the singing. All of the songs that were composed by the sons of Korach, they all renew previous songs, earlier songs, pre-existing songs. And they're all in supernal mystery in the spirit of wisdom. So now we're up to come and see. Come and see. So is anybody going to read for us this evening? All right, I guess it's going to be Beryl this time.
Come and see. The Blessed Holy One fashioned the lower world corresponding to the higher world. All those arrayals arrayed by David and Solomon, his son, and all the true prophets were arrayed entirely according to the supernal pattern. Come and see, just as there are watches on earth, so too there are watches in heaven, as the companions have established. Arrayed watches in heaven sing to their Lord, chanting song constantly. They all stand facing one another, all arranged for song and praise.
Okay, wait. So we'll get to that in a second. So we have this general principle, we've come across it many times, and that is that there's a correspondence between the upper world and the lower world. And the lower world follows the blueprint of the upper world. Everything that we have in our experience is in some way or other a reflection of some reality up above. And sometimes the reflection is much too subtle or hidden for us to understand. And sometimes it's like right in front. So here the Zohar points out a very simple correspondence. That the arrayals arrayed by David and Solomon and all the true prophets follow the pattern that already existed above. So what is this pattern? The pattern is that there are mishmarot, there are watches, there are shifts. The word mishmar comes from the word shomer. We have the shomer and the 4 shomrim in this Shabbos Torah reading. But a guardian, somebody who's taking care of something. And it also is shifts because the guard can't stay forever. So you have a guard that's, the night shift, and then you have a guard that's the morning shift, the midnight shift, and so on. So we have this idea that there are shifts that are part of the heavenly hosts, and that they're also, related to time. So if you look in the note, that there are also, that the night is divided up into 3 watches, into 3 shifts, and then the rest of the day as well. So these shifts have to do with the angels taking their places. And what do the angels actually do? Arrayed watches in heaven sing to their Lord, chanting song constantly. So the idea is that these shifts of angels, they're constantly spelling each other, taking over from one shift to the next, so that the singing in heaven never stops, so that there's a constant singing. If you recall the famous story of Jacob wrestling with the angel, so the angel, they wrestle to a standstill, right, to a tie, so to speak. They're, neither one can defeat the other, and the angel says to Jacob, "Let me go, I gotta go, because dawn has cracked," right? It's ki Allah hashachar, dawn has risen, and Rashi says it's time for me to go up and sing. It's my shift to go up to heaven and to sing, and you're going to make me late, So, and the heavenly conductor is going to get angry, when I come in the middle of the song. So, so this is the idea, and of course we have this picture of the heavenly choir as part of our traditional morning services. Our davening celebrates that we have these angelic beings, and each one, they all accept upon themselves the yoke of the supremacy, the majesty of heaven, and they give each other the cues. It's called a reshut. Right, they give each other the cue when to sing, so that each one then sings the song. And what is it that they sing? Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzvakot. We had that in last Shabbos's Haftorah. Right, that was Isaiah's revelation, that this is what's happening in heaven. He brings that revelation through his prophecy down to earth, and that's where again we have the establishing of the parallelism, the correspondence between above and below. Not only do we sing any kind of song that we want, like hey, let's sing a B'nai Korach composition, but we literally sing the same songs that the angels sing. So this is all part of this mysterious united parallelism between above and below. They all stand facing one another, all arrayed for song and praise. So they face each other. If you've seen some, choirs, choruses, set themselves up that way. You've got this kind of classic idea, for the Ninth Symphony or something like that, and you've got 50,000 people all standing in rows watching the conductor. But you also have this other kind of approach where there is a kind of a circular or even a semicircular idea where all the singers can watch each other, because all the singers are actually feeding off each other and adjusting a little bit if they can be, attuned literally to one another. That's the key to a beautiful choral production, right? So you don't just, each person is all for themselves. No, it's about this give and take between the angels, and theoretically that's how it should be below as well. We should be giving and taking, not just taking, but also giving. As we would engage in singing, our singing will inform everybody else's singing, and everybody else's singing will inform our singing. So this is, yeah, Merle.
I have a question. So since there's a choir up there, why except why in the traditional practices of Judaism, aren't there choirs
There is a
singing?
choir, absolutely. In traditional Judaism, there is a choir. We are the choir.
Oh, we're the
entire-
choir.
The
Ah.
entire congregation is the choir.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's the position of traditional synagogues to a choir is precisely the opposition of saying, don't take this away from the congregation. Don't make this into a performance that we listen to somebody
Mhm.
else. This is on us. We're supposed to be singing. We're supposed to be praising God.
That makes sense.
All right. So now we're at the last two lines on 384. Coming back to that mysterious term alamot, right?
Alamot, a song. What is a song?
What is
Correspond-
alamot, a song?
Corresponding to what is said, there are 60 queens and 80 concubines, Alamot, and damsels without number.
So finally, we get a translation of the word alamot. We haven't had a translation of alamot yet, because the alamot is an unusual word. We're not quite sure what it means. We talked about it already. And is it a musical instrument? Is it a musical, scale, a motif, whatever it is? It has something to do with music. But so the verse is for the leader of the sons of Korach upon alamot, a song. So finally, the Zohar says, what is this business about alamot? So they answer, it means young maidens. We take a verse from the Song of Songs that celebrates the array of women that are around the king, and the alamot are without number. There are a certain number of queens, there are a certain number of concubines, but alamot, young maidens, no, you can't count them. There's so many. Okay, so what is these damsels now? What does it mean?
You want 528 or you want me to keep reading?
Keep reading.
Okay. What does it mean? Damsels without number. As is said, is there any number to his troops? Since they are innumerable, it is written, damsels without number, all rows upon rows, revolving arrays, facing one another, singing praises to their Lord. There are almost, these are alamot, damsels of song. Since they are damsels who do not sing like these are called damsels of song.
Right. So the Zohar is saying you have to read the verse as not for the leader of the sons of Korach upon alamot, a song, but rather for the leader of the sons of Korach upon alamot of song. This is that our psalms, say the sons of Korach, is a reflection of the infinite multitudes of young damsels who are angels up in heaven, angels without number who are constantly singing. There are angels that do other things. There are angels that come and tell Abraham and Sarah that they're going to have a child, and so on and so forth. But there are angels of song, and it's not a song, alamot, a song, alamot of song. That our composition is a reflection, a correspondence of this amazing, endless choir of singing up above, and we do our limited, finite correspondence here below. Okay, so that's the setup now. Okay, so now we have, how do we arrange these rows and rows and rows of celestial of the celestial choir? Go ahead.
3 arrays diverge on every side in 4 directions of the world, each and every array on every side. 3 other arrays.
Okay, so in other words, there are 4 sides to reality, to space: north, south, east, west, right? So that's the same way that there's 4 sides to the altar, 4 sides to the Mishkan. We're going to eventually get to the Mishkan in another couple of weeks, right? So everything is corresponding to what we have above. So the 4 sides of God's throne. So there's 3 arrays of these celestial forces on each of 3 sides. And those 3 arrays are each then divided up into 3. So we've got 3 sides with 3 rows, so to speak, and each row is divided into another 3 rows. So we've got 9 rows on each of the sides of these 3 sides. Let's see what that means. We're going to keep on going. Go ahead. First array.
First array to the east is 3 arrays, which are 9 arrays, since each of these 3 comprises 3 arrays, consequently 9, with countless thousands and myriads beneath them.
Okay, so this is just the way they first start getting set up, and then it proliferates and just amalgamates more and more and more and more and more. Okay, so there's 9 of these, 3 of these rows that become 9, and then boom, the quantum jump into zillions. Okay, so that's on the east. Go ahead.
These 9 arrays are conducted by engraved letters upon which each of them gazes. They join in unison, chanting song. When those letters soar through the air of spirit appointed over all, they stir, and song turns fragrant.
Okay, so now we have a new element added. The singing angels that are in rows and rows and rows and rows, endless rows of this amazing choir. And we have this in choirs also. You've got like sub choirs, right? You've got sometimes you've got assistant conductors that take care of different parts of the choir, right? So each side has letters that are the conductors of the angels. Okay? A new idea that the letters are the boss. The letters give the direction. Okay, so let's understand now we're getting into an image set where the letters are alive. The letters are not just, shapes that we print on a page, that we write on a piece of parchment or something. The letters are beings, and the letters are, they have a directive force. They are the conductors. They signal to the angels how to sing, what to sing, how fast to sing, etc. Right? So the letters are alive and powerful. Okay, now, this derives or expands upon a very, very simple, basic idea that we've come across any number of times, starting with the very beginning of reading the Torah. And that is, how was the world created? The world was created by speech. The world was created by language. God said, let there be light, and there was. So we have, in that speech act, we have so many different things that can be unpacked, and the Zohar unpacks it in many different places, in many different kinds of approaches. But one of the ideas is that it's not just the talking, but the talking consists of letters. The talking consists of words that are brought, that are made out of letters. Those letters are potent. They are super powerful. At the very beginning of the Zohar, there's a beautiful story. It was illustrated by the American Jewish artist, photographer, calligrapher Ben Shahn, and he created a little book, and it's called The Alphabet of Creation. And it's a very nice little work, and he basically tells over the story that's in the Zohar. It's on like in the second page of the Zohar. And the Zohar talks about God is about to create the world, and God has to say, look, I got all these letters here to use. What am I going to begin creating the world with? So the first letter that comes up is Tuf. And Tuf says to God, why don't you create the world from me? You know, I stand for the world, for the word Tevel, all of the universe and so on. And God says, no, I can't use you to create the world because you also stand for bad words. You're not good. So, and this goes on, the Zohar goes through each word, Tuf, and then Shin, and then Resh. It goes backwards through all of the letters of the alphabet. And then finally, all of them have been dismissed, and we get to Bet. And then God says, all right, I'll create the world with Bet. And that's why the first letter of the Torah is Bet, Bereshit, bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. So then little meek, humble Aleph is sitting there in the corner. And, you know, Aleph didn't, you know, push herself through. And Bet, you know, got the top billing, and you know, there's a certain unfairness to that. You know, she didn't even get a chance to make a case for herself. And then God has Rahmanas on the Aleph, and God says to the Aleph, don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. You will start off the Aseret HaDibros. You will start off the 10 Commandments that we had this past Shabbos. Anochi, Hashem Elokecha, Asher tzisicha mi'eretz Mitzrayim mi'beis avodah. So that's the story that the Zohar tells. So it's a beautiful children's story. It's got you know, moral, you know, lessons in there and all kinds of things, but it's got a mystical you know, conviction behind it, which is that the letters are not symbols per se. They're not conventional, you know, characters that we've come up with in order to communicate with each other. They are the building blocks, and building blocks is even too passive, right? They are the atoms. They are the neutrinos. They are the you know, the energy packets that make the world come into being, with, as we have here, with a sense of real life to them, and a sense of focus that each one has, right? And the angels are at their beck and call. Right, somebody wanted to say something. Did I not let somebody say something? Okay, good. Okay, so now here we go. Oh, and then we have this beautiful idea, soaring through the air, and the song turns fragrant, right? Such a nice image. We get a whole different sensual idea of it. You know, how many, you know, when we say a sweet song, you know, we say that David was Ni'im's Mirot Yisrael, the pleasant one, you know, of making songs for Israel. But here we have it not tasting, but smelling, right? So disembodied, so spiritualized, so intangible, right? And there it is. All right. One letter, last paragraph.
One letter knocks from below, ascending, descending. Two letters soar above them, and this letter below ascends, from below above joining them, becoming three letters, all corresponding to the letters Yud, He, Vav, three within resplendent speculum.
Speculum, yes.
From these, three arrays diverge. Those letters are two. This letter ascending joins them, and they are three.
Okay. So here we have now the focus. It's not just any letters, but now we have a more primary idea. That God creates the world with the alphabet is very nice. But prior to that, we have this setup where it's God's name that becomes the active agent for all of creation and for all of all activity in any realm. Right? So the letters of God's name are Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. There are 4 letters. Right? The tetra 4 grammaton, the four letters. How many directions are there? 4, right? 4 sides of the box. So we have here, as it says, 3 arrays that arrange on every side in 4 directions, each and every tetra. So these are now, paralleled to the letters of God's name. However, the letters of God's name have a certain peculiarity, which we all know already many times. We've looked at this, and that is that even though it's a 4-letter name, there are only 3 distinct letters. 1 letter repeats itself, the Hey. So the distinct letters are the Hey, a Yud, and a Vav, right? So when we write God's name in the Torah, we have it Yud, Hey, Vav. Those are the 3 distinct letters, and then we have the Hey again. It's repeated. It's not a new letter. So the 3, essential elements are Yud, Hey, and Vav. So now that the Zohar says that they interact and they're busy, right? They're involved in a whole dance. They're involved in and this is the same way that a conductor is moving the baton and moving the letters themselves are jumping up and down and around. And how does this work? So it works with the idea that there's a 1 letter knocks from below, ascending and descending. 2 letters soar above. So there are 2 letters, and then there's a 3rd letter that jumps in among the other 2 letters. Okay, so how is this going to work out? We'll see a little bit in a second the way that we are going to identify each of them. Okay, so let's see how these 3 letters work. Go ahead, turn the page, 386.
Come and see. Those 2 supernal letters ascending through the air interlace one another, compassion with judgment. So they are 2 from the supernal world in mystery of male. The one ascending, joining them, is female, embraced by both of them, just as female is embraced by 2 sides, right and left. So this letter is female and joins 2 other letters on 2 sides. These above, this below, all is one, male and female. Though when the world was created, those letters derived from the supernal world, engendering all works below according to their pattern precisely. So whoever knows them and is mindful of them is beloved above, beloved below.
Okay, so now we've got another element to throw into this, not only letters, but also gender. So there are letters that are male and there are letters that are female. And the 2 male letters have an affinity, they're together with each other. And then the female inserts herself between the 2 male letters, which in a certain sense, if you think about it, is a little bit counterintuitive. We usually think about the male inserting himself into the female. But here we have the female letter coming in and jumping in between and interrupting the 2 males and putting herself in the mix. It reminds me actually when Zelda and I got married, we were both part of the Orthodox community. And at our wedding, we had separate dancing. We had the men were dancing and the women were dancing. And she had a very good friend, a woman, and the circle around us, we were sitting next to each other, the chairs in the middle of the dance floor, and the men were dancing in a circle around us. And then her friend decided she's going to dance in front of us. And she inserted herself, she broke through the men's circle, and she danced a beautiful dance to make us happy, because that's what you're supposed to do at a wedding. You're supposed to make the chassan and the kala rejoice. And she, did a wonderful dance. And Zelda's uncle, who was a rabbi and very, proper, he left the wedding in a huff. He completely, he couldn't take it. So, so I remember it to this day. So, and we're still friends with that friend of Zelda's. So, but that idea of pushing through is very assertive. And like I say, traditionally speaking, it's not something that you would expect. Nevertheless, here the Zohar gives this picture. And we think about now which of these letters are which. If you look in the notes, we don't have to go through everything, but the Yud and the Vav are considered the male letters, and the Hey is the female letter. And later on, when everything gets mapped out properly, easily, smoothly, we have the Hey, the first Hey. We've got two Heys, right? The first Hey is identified with Bina. And the second Hey, the last Hey, is identified with, right, Shechina. I could read your lips. So, and that's originally how that whole phrase got, the person couldn't figure out how to unmute themselves. So they said, read my lips. So, so the second Hey is Shechina, Malchut. So those Heys are gendered female. So then again, if you look at the Yud and the Vav, and then the Hey jumps in between them, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, so that we end up having an alternating male, female dance within the divine name. So when people say, watch out, it could lead to mixed dancing, you can say, that's right. That's exactly what creation did. It led to mixed dancing between the letters of God's name. So the Yud is the initial beginning, step of God actualizing, acting God's power and revealing God's self. The Vav is male in any number of ways of associating it with the male. How would we support the idea that the Vav is male?
Phallic.
It's phallic, right? The Vav is the long letter, so it's considered to be, the extension, the phallic member of God's body, so to speak, and it is the extension of the Yud. It's like a Yud with an erection. So that's the Vav. So the Yud and the Vav are gendered male, and the Hey jumps in between them and then ends up creating the doubling that we are so familiar with. It's the Hey then that actually exemplifies the mirroring, right? The fact that there's an upper Hey and a lower Hey, even within God, is the prototype for the fact that then later on there will be an upper realm and a lower realm, right? So the Hey is responsible for actually creating that original paradigm of lower and upper doubling. And to a certain extent, that's the jumping. That's the flying back and forth to see the hay here and to see the hay there. In certain ways, it's the same hay. It's just jumped up and then it's jumped down, but then it becomes two, right? So that's the male and the female as we as it develops. Whoever knows them and is mindful of them is beloved above and below. Right? To appreciate this is to make you an ally. Let's put it that way, an ally with God's plan, right? To get into this idea and to appreciate the conjunction, the communion, the coming together of the male and the female letters in this way makes you, able to then facilitate the joining of above and below, which is what God wants. Yeah, Len.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's a doubling also in the verse "L'chadodi l'klat kala pnei Shabbat nekabla," where the Yud Hey represents number 15, Vav Hey represents 11. There are 15 letters in the first half of that verse, and 11 letters in the second half of that verse. So you have the Yud Hey, male, female, in the first half, male and female doubled in the second half of that verse, and the whole verse is coming together.
You're talking about in the song L'chadodi?
In the song, yes, in the poem, in the piyut. So in the way that piyut is constructed, in chorus, it's repeated after every verse.
Start again. You froze for a second for me. So the way it's repeated.
Go
ahead.
10 times, right? And it's the chorus that is sung at the end of every verse, and it initiates the piyut as well. But the theme is with the chorus that that the male and female is doubled in the chorus itself, and the chorus is all about the male and the female merging.
Okay, very good. No, I hadn't noticed that. Good. Is that something that what's his name, Kimmelman points out?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, Reuven Kimmelman.
Yeah,
yes.
I read it too long ago. I don't remember it. I don't remember it anymore. Very good. Good. Shkoach. All right. Yes. All right. More. Here we go.
Rabbi Shimon said, all those letters are male and female, merging as one in mystery of upper waters and lower waters. All is one, consummate unity. So whoever knows them and is mindful of them is beloved above and below, for this is the essence of perfect unity.
Okay, so the question is, what's Rabbi Shimon saying that's not the same as what Rabbi Abba said before? So look at the note 543.
All those letters are male and female. Rabbi Abba had said that Yud and Vav are masculine, while Hey is feminine. Rabbi Shimon teaches that all the letters are either male or female, as clarified below.
That not only these three letters of God's name, but all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, they're all gendered male or female. In the Zohar on Shir Hashirim, Rabbi Shimon actually labels each of the letters. This one is male, this one is female, this one is male, this one is female, and attributes, gender to every single letter of the alphabet, and therefore all of the letters, and as a result, by extension, all of creation and all of reality participates in this back and forth, this yin and yang, so to speak, between male and female, because all of the letters are interacting with each other all of the time. David, yeah.
This Rabbi Shimon is the Rashbi?
Yeah.
Yeah. And up until this point, we're still hearing from Abba, right?
Right.
All this is Abba. Oh,
Rabbi Abba, right.
what an imagination.
He started on 383. Right. Okay. Now, okay. Very good. And now let's see the ramifications of this idea.
3. 3 on this side and on that side, in single unity, in total perfection, all of them mystery of supernal array, fittingly corresponding above. For that array is 3, 3 in single mystery.
Okay. So look at 546.
Corresponding above for that array is 3, 3 in single mystery. The triadic array of angels corresponds to this ephratic realm, which is also arranged in triads.
Okay. So this is where we had already the idea that the angels are, there's 3, that becomes 3 within the 3, so it's 9. They're on the 3 sides of the 4-sided map of reality. By the way, what is that 4th side? That 4th side is the bottom hay, right? The bottom hay, which jumps up into the 3 sides. So she will receive all of the energies from the other 3 sides. So, but the idea then is that says I think this is Rashbi now, saying that 3s are important, and God's being can be seen as flowing out into the world in a triadic, as this word used, a triadic structure. So we always talk about the fact that the Sefirot are 10, right? And we've got these 3 times 3 is 9. Where's the 10th? You're expecting to find a 10 someplace, but the 10 isn't mentioned. But the Sefirot are supposed to be 10. 10 doesn't work with 3, right? Doesn't quite work that way. But if you see the way that we've diagrammed the Sefirot, as in the classic example that we have at the beginning of our volume, right? We have in the 10 are arrayed in this kind of like, zigzagging way, right? And when you look at the zigzags, you end up, if you look at it in a different way, you have 3 rows, right? You've got a right-hand row, you've got a left-hand row, and you've got a row in the middle. So instead of going keter in the top, then you go to the right, chokhmah, then you go to the left, bina, and then you go back to the right for chesed, and then you go back to the left for gvura, and then you go back into the middle for tiferet, and then you go back to the right for netzach, and then you go back to the left. Instead of doing these zigzagging things, what you can look at is you can look at 3 vertical rows, one on the right, and then one on the left, and one in the middle. The one on the middle has 4. The 2 on the right and on the left have 3. So that's how you get the 10. But the triadic structure then is this kind of vertical set of rows that then have the idea, and that's why I think he does it. Let me just make sure. Where is it? Here it is. Yes. When you look at that page, you'll see that besides the circles, there are like channels. And the channels go zigzagging, but they also go straight down and up. So the idea then is that the vertical lines can work. You don't have to always, it's like taking the IRT, express that skips certain stations and it just goes straight through. So that's the triadic nature of the flow. And that's why there's a certain a community of identity. All the ones on the right have something that they share in common. All the ones on the left have something that they share in common. All the ones in the middle have something that they share in common. That commonality comes from the fact that there's a meaning to the column in and of itself without zigzagging back and forth between right and left. Oh, here we go. Wait, there's a chat. When is the first time that the Sephirotic chart is drawn? Is it in the original manuscripts of the Zohar? So original manuscripts of the Zohar is a very loaded term. There are no original manuscripts of the Zohar. There are manuscripts that are, found of pieces of the Zohar here and there. And the manuscripts go from through the centuries, starting and identifying them as manuscripts of the Zohar. It's not like every manuscript says Zohar manuscript. There's a piece that then says, oh, look, that's a Zohar piece. So that's a manuscript of the Zohar. So that's number one. Number two, the answer that when is the first time that we have it arrayed in that way? I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the 1400s. Certainly it's spoken as if that's the array. It's spoken not only in this kind of abstract, abstruse way here, but it's spoken in other places, so that you could picture it for sure. So I don't know. Yeah.
The reason I was just asking you because when you were translating or explaining to us the picture before, I was almost going to ask you, could you draw on a chalkboard for us what we're seeing? You know what I mean? In other words, it should be drawn, but this is in words rather than in a picture.
Right.
Somebody, draw it first.
Right. So it's the word that I would use is visualize. Right. So the question of visualizing what the Zohar speaks is a big question, and many times you'll have the Zohar saying this verse needs looking into. Right. No, ika de leistakla by kra. So the word to look into it obviously can mean to investigate it, to do research, to think it out. But many people would say it also means to visualize, to actually see what it is, try to picture it. My teacher, Elliot Wolfson, was very, very adamant that visualization was really, really key to the mystical experience in Jewish tradition.
And then also, it keeps saying, come and see, tachaze.
That's right. As opposed to the Gemara says tashma, come and listen, and the Zohar says tachazi, come and see.
Mm-hmm.
Right, big difference. Right,
Rabbi?
yes.
Yeah, it's Meryl. I was just going to say, I want to give thanks to whoever came up with this chart. It's the chart of what we were
That we
just
have in the book, right?
Yeah, that we have in the book. Whoever came up with that in the 1400s or whenever, thank you.
All right. There are other kinds of charts. There are other kinds I have in my office. Come stop by in Shomrei sometime. There are other kinds of visualizations that have been created. So this is one handy way to look at things. We should never think that any particular visualization is really the right picture of God, right? When we were at Mount Sinai, Moses says, "You heard stuff, but you didn't see any image," right? So we have to be careful. In general, the Sfirot are a good heuristic tool, but we shouldn't get too hung up on them. All right. So we did, if you remember now, back on 385, first array to the east. And now we're at second array.
Second array to the south. 3 arrays on that side. Each array 3, totaling 9. As has been said, letters divide in every direction. To all join as one, for there are letters in mystery of female and letters in mystery of male. All uniting as one, becoming one in the mystery of the complete holy name. Accompanying them, appointed arrays, 3, 3, as has been said.
Right. Good.
All issues from the array of supernal patriarchs according to the array of letters of the holy name, Yud He Vav. As has been said, these arrays are all conducted by these well-known letters by which they move. Countless forces and princes all below move and are conducted within this array.
Okay. So I think we have pretty much a kind of a reiteration of what we've been presented with before, but we're moving around the directions. So we started in the east, and the east, if we look at the page again, the east is the top, right? The top of the diagram, right? So then if we move to the right, we get to the south, right? So that's the next direction, or the next side that we're talking about. And we basically have the same, iterations again, the same dynamic. We have the idea that all issues from the array of supernal patriarchs. What's that all about? Who are the patriarchs? I ask this sometimes to our bar and bat mitzvah kids. Some of them
Abraham,
know,
Isaac,
and some of
Jacob.
them don't know. What?
Well, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with for the
Abraham,
Zohar.
Isaac, and Jacob. So that's the
Chesed, Din,
right. Go ahead.
Chesed, Din, and Tiferet.
Right. So the supernal patriarchs, right? The patriarchs up on high, the heavenly patriarchs, are the divine sources of divine energy, and they are then identified with these separate directions. So you have the east is the central up and down, starts with the east and goes down to the west. So that's Tiferet. Keter, we don't talk about Tiferet. You know, we don't touch those early up Sfirot. So that's Yaakov. To the east is Abraham, and that leaves one more, and that's who?
Isaac.
Right.
Din.
Right. Okay. So now we go. So we have. I'm sorry. Did I say? I don't know if I said it right. Right. Abraham is to the south. I'm sorry, and Tiferet is in the east. And now we go to the opposite of the south. We go to the north, and that's Din, which is Jacob, which is Isaac, which is Yitzchak. Okay. So that means we've accounted for 3 of the 4 sides. Each one has 3 arrays that branch out to another 3. These are 9. Okay, so I just read that sentence. Third array. Go ahead. Start from third array. You got it?
Third array to the north. 3 arrays on that side. They are 9. On 3 sides, 3 on each side, totaling 9. Those arrays on 3 sides as has been said, 27 in the mystery of letters totaling 27. Although they are 22, the full complement of letters is 27.
Okay, so the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 distinct letters, right? We have 24, I think, right, in the English, with 26. Thank you. See, I get confused. So yeah, how many letters in the Chinese alphabet? I don't know. Just okay. So anyway, 22 letters. However, of the 22 letters, we also have certain letters that double, depending on whether they are in the middle or beginning of a letter or final letters. The final letters, for instance, a chaf, right, or a mem, or a nun, right, or a pei, right, or a tzadik, right, or a tzad, right. It's called min safa. All those 5 letters have another form, right? A final form that's used when a letter ends, when a word ends with the letter. Somebody called me up today who's a big Jeopardy fan, and told me that the person who was, had won 40 games or something, she lost because she didn't know the answer to what's the one country, the only country whose final letter is H. And she didn't know the answer. So does anybody know the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's
Bangladesh.
right, because so you're cheating, you cheated, so, but, so yes, so this person told, I didn't know either, so the
I
person told,
noticed, I did a quick search of countries that could end TH, SH. And
right, good for you. I was, I was thinking so Hebraically, I'm going Utah, something, that has an AH at the end, I'm going with, I couldn't think of.
I think that is an issue in both like Hebrew, Japanese, like an H is not independent necessarily by itself. So you wouldn't think of you don't think of SH because that seems like its own letter.
Yeah,
Like that's a shin or that's not
right. In Hebrew it is. It's
Hebrew
its own letter. That's right. So, but in Hebrew, the H is pretty important, right? It's two H's in God's name, right? 2 H's. Anyway, but so those extra 5 forms, add that to the 22 equals 27. So the Zohar goes coincidence? I don't think so, right? So the 3 upper and side flanks of this 4-sided reality that we're talking about constitute, as a result, 27 arrays, 9, 9, and 9, 27 arrays, and that exhausts the number of the Hebrew letters. So you may be wondering, what do we do with the 4th side? What happens with the 4th side? The answer is, as we've said many, many times, the 4th side has nothing of its own. The 4th side, everything that's in the 4th side is because the other 3 sides pour their energy, their life force, their being into the 4th side. That's what Shekhinah is. That's what Malchut is she is the receptacle of the other 3 sides, right? She is the culmination of all of this being finally gathering and uniting within her. So the 27 letters, the 27 arrays, the 27 that then proliferate into zillions and zillions and zillions of forces, they're all pouring into that 4th bottom side, and she, as a result, is then invigorated to be able to jump up and join in with the other 3 sides. Okay. Consequently, we're in the middle of the paragraph.
Okay, let me figure out where we are. Consequently, as there are 27 letters, the array of these arrays is 27. 3 arrays on each side. 3 on this side comprise 9. 3 on this side comprise 9. 3 on this side comprise 9. Consequently, all of them total 27. Mystery of these 27 letters, 9 letters in mystery of female, through which female joins those 18 others through the mystery mentioned, all fittingly.
Absolutely. QED. Let's look at the note 554.
9 letters in mystery of female, 18 others. Apparently, the numbers 9 and 18 denote 9 times the single female letter hey and 9 times the 2 male letters yud and vav.
Okay. So, and etc. Since we had it already from the beginning, we said that the 3 letters of God's name are distributed as 2/3 male and 1/3 female. So it makes sense as to the Zohar that we should imagine that it's not half and half in terms of all of the letters, but there are twice as many male letters as female letters because all of the letters proliferate out of the model of God's own name, right? They're all, permutations and developments out of the original structure of godliness that is exemplified by God's name. So therefore, even though in the end, the 4-letter name of God has 2 male letters and 2 female letters, actually the 2 female letters are 1 letter. So it's just that the 2 female letters are doubled, that the 2 female letter itself is doubled. But in terms of, each one in its own identity, there are 2 male and 1 female. So this is the assumption that the Zohar is making. Does it surprise us that at this point in the development of society and in the development of Jewish history, that this 2-to-1 ratio should be clearly unproblematically adopted, and the 2 and 2, that is the final expression of God's name, is disregarded? Does that surprise us? It shouldn't surprise us, right? It shouldn't surprise us. This, is a reassertion, as far as I'm concerned, of that kind of, preeminence that's granted to the male over the female, and something that, it's like we could theoretically imagine the Zohar going off in another direction if it felt impelled to do that, right? If it felt impelled to try to find a more egalitarian picture, then it would have made other kinds of choices and other kinds of moves. 27 is an odd number. Add another 9, on the bottom, and then that allows us to have an even number, right? Then it becomes 36. So 18 this way, 18 this way. Would it be so terrible? Zelda's uncle would walk out, right? So this is where we are. Okay. To give a little homiletical twist to this as well, look at the hoops that the hay has to jump through because she's outnumbered, right? In other words, she ends up having to double herself to make this work, right? While the Yud and the Vav just are a Yud and a Vav. Whenever we have people who are marginalized, they always have to be twice as good as the mainstream people in order to be accepted into the crowd.
Yeah.
So Hay does twice as much work in order to be accepted into the constellation. Okay. Let's go one more paragraph, and then we're gonna end for this evening.
Come and see. Corresponding to supernal letters of the higher world, similarly, other letters below. High letters, large, low letters, small, all corresponding to one another. In all these mysteries, through mystery of male and female, all is consummately one.
Okay. So here we have then another little feature, size, right? The heavenly letters could be alluded to here as the high letters. They're the big letters. And then the lower letters, the letters in the lower world, they're the little letters, right? So that's one way to read this. But if you read the note 555,
555. No. Supernal letters, other letters, high letters, low letters. The large letters derive from Bina, the higher Sephardic realm, while the small letters derive from Shekhinah, the lower realm.
right? So it gets a little more nuanced, a little more complicated. The higher letters come from Bina because the higher letters are in the divine realm. They stay in the divine realm. Bina, as the upper mother, is the mother who engenders the rest of the divine array. Shekhinah's job is to engender the world as we know it. So she's lower than Bina. She's the lower hay versus the higher hay, but she's still higher than the hay that I write when I write a hay in my Hebrew writing. But nevertheless, she is, by being that lower hay within the God's being, she is the one who creates the lower realms themselves, which are outside of God's being, and which are the world as we know it. So it's, again, a doubling of the feminine actions. Feminine actions are now engendering both the divine, both the high and the mundane, and the worldly, and the lower, small letters. So within the Zohar's own system, you could sort of, turn things around just a little bit. All right, we're going to stop here. And the next time will be in 2 weeks, because this coming Thursday, we have again the final rabbinic candidate will be visiting, and we'll be teaching Thursday night. So hopefully we'll be able to hang in there and meet again in 2 weeks. Cool,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Yosh Koach. Good night.